What's that fragrance?
Is there a problem, my lord?
I was just admiring your lovely smell.
If you'd like to sniff me some more, by all means, be my guest. Sniff me for an hour, or sniff all day!
An hour is a bit excessive, I think.
One of my favorite types of anime is isekai, or isekai, however you pronounce it. I'm gonna say isekai, so yeah. But anyways, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a protagonist that gets transported to another world and starts a new life. 9 times out of 10, the rules of the new world differ a bit from the previous one, introducing some sort of magic system, new types of creatures and monsters that you'd see in a fantasy world, and of course, different forms of combat that oftentimes revolves less around guns and bombs and more around swords or shields, you know, medieval style. I've noticed in a lot of isekais the main character of the story has something unique about them that gives them an unfair advantage in this new environment. Something like having unique powers or the ability to learn skills faster than those around them, or maybe they just start out overpowered. This makes watching them learn about this new world alongside us, as well as what sets them apart from everyone else, a really interesting method of storytelling. I think the first time I was introduced to this kind of storytelling was in my first Final Fantasy game I ever played, Final Fantasy X. If you're unfamiliar, the main character, who I thought it would be funny to name Dickhead, gets transported to another world filled with hot chicks into BDSM, as well as blue furries. We learn about this new world alongside him, allowing the player character to be the voice of the audience, gradually sinking us deeper into the universe so that we can appreciate every moment of it. Unlike that other Final Fantasy game I played.
But why? We saw Jiskel's sphere.
You killed him.
What of it?
But we're here to talk about anime today, and I'm going to give you my recommendations to the top 5 isekais that I personally watched over the past few years, and why I think that they're just freaking awesome. There will be a few spoilers, only very minor spoilers though, you know, general plot stuff that I don't think knowing them would really ruin anyone's experience when watching for the first time. So, starting at the bottom of this list, with number 5, we have The Eminence in Shadow.
This is my almighty power. I am atomic.
The main character, Sid, is transported to another world and becomes a leader of an underground organization called Shadow Garden. It's pretty much a harem filled with chicks willing to do whatever he tells them. Of course, during the day, his life seems like every other ordinary student in school. In fact, he goes out of his way to make sure that he doesn't stick out in any unique or special way, even though sometimes that really doesn't work out the way he intends. For Sid, it's all about the drama, the story of his own character, even though he knows he's pretty overpowered compared to the others around him. He'll still wait for the perfect moment to make his entrance so that it has maximum effect. There's decent action scattered throughout the show, and good animation effects that you'd expect to see since this just came out last year in 2022. For me, the story is interesting, but to be honest, it kind of felt like it needed a bit more polish. I don't know, it's just there were times here and there that I found myself kind of tuning out and not feeling as invested as I thought I should be. It's still pretty good, but it does take the lowest spot on this list for me, and that's probably why I don't really have anything else to say about it.
Do I strike you as the type of guy who can be bought with money?
Yes, you do.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Number 4. That time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Behold! This is my ultimate technique! Demon Blaster!
Swallow it up! Beelzebub!
Years ago, before I fell into this never-ending rabbit hole of anime content, I was working at my job and a friend told me that I needed to check out That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. The anime Parasite was on Netflix at the time, and for whatever reason, I thought he was talking about that one. And after seeing the previews for it, I wasn't really super interested in it, since I wasn't really big into anime at that moment in time either. He didn't explain it very well, so when he said slime, I pictured something that took place in the modern world that looked something like Parasite. Now, if he would have told me that the story took place in a fantasy world where the main protagonist gets teleported to a world where there's magic, monsters, demon lords, political struggles, and so on, I probably would have checked this one out a lot sooner. A 37-year-old man named Satoru Makami gets killed by a thief and is transported to a fantasy world where he's incarnated as a slime named Rimuru Tempest, with the power to absorb his enemies and learn their powers. It's a fun anime with 2 seasons currently out, both with 24 episodes, and there's some side content to check out on top of that. The weak points of this anime is that compared to a few others on this list, it just felt like some of the lore building was pushed to the background at times. I mean, it's there, but every now and then I felt like the plot was just breezing along and could have benefited from slowing down and building up a few side characters and events while giving time to let the story breathe and get a bit more fleshed out. I haven't read the manga, so I'm sure it does a better job with all that, but in any case, this is a good anime and deserves to be in the top 5.
Ah, Lord Rimuru!
Naked. She's completely right. I'm buck naked right now. Yep, just strutting all around in my birthday suit.
Number 3, Mushoku Tensei, or in English, Jobless Reincarnation. The anime covers the story of, from what all appearances, seems to be a middle-aged guy with a porn addiction living in a dump. After getting caught and kicked out, he ends up biting the dust and is reincarnated as a baby. But from the moment he's born, he remembers everything from his past life and has a fully functional adult brain. As he begins to get older, he learns that this world isn't Earth. It's a new world with adventures, a magic system, different fighting styles, and human-beast hybrids, of course. Rudius Greyrat, the main character, uses his knowledge from his previous life to help him in this new world, causing him to be somewhat of a prodigy in magic from a young age with a wisdom beyond his years. I really like this anime a lot. It's not just exciting and fun to watch, but I thought it was pretty mature at times. It does a good job displaying Rudius' cunning and magical aptitude, but also has him making some dire mistakes that end up causing harm to himself and even the people around him. In spite of it being in a fantasy setting, there's heavy topics like slavery, prejudice, racism, assault, and all other darker aspects of life that have the potential to make compelling storytelling. I had a tough time deciding which one of these should be second or third on the list, just because this one and the next one are both really awesome. But I decided to put the next one second on the list just because I think I enjoyed it overall just a little bit more than Mushoku Tensei. Did you guys know that for most of the people watching YouTube videos, only a small percentage of those people are actually subscribed to those channels? But subscribing is really quick and easy. All you have to do is first to make a YouTube account, which is free, and then after that, go down to the video that you're watching, hit the like button, which goes a long way in helping out the algorithm, and then go over and hit the subscribe button. After you've hit the subscribe button, click the drop down arrow and click the option that says all, so that can notify you whenever a new video from this creator has dropped. Subscribing is free, and making a YouTube account is also free. It allows you to keep up with all of your favorite content creators, and of course it goes a long way in helping out my channel, and I really do appreciate it. So with all of that being said, back to the video. Which leads me to number 2 on the list, The Rising of Shield Hero.
You see where I come from. When someone asks for something, they usually grovel before the one who has what they need. Oh yeah, and they usually say, I beg you, please deign to enlighten my ignorant self.
Insolent cur!
You know, I gotta be honest, when I first watched this anime, I only checked it out the first episode and then just kinda checked out. I didn't watch any more of it until season 2 came out. But then I picked it up again to see what all the hype was about, and holy crap, I just fell in love with it. I don't know, maybe that first viewing didn't gel well with me or something. It was the exact same when it came to Demon Slayer. I saw the first episode and just wasn't into it that much, but after the second viewing, I dove deep into it and now I just can't get enough of it. Funny how that works sometimes, huh? Well, anywho, The Rising of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hero is about 4 guys summoned to a fantasy world who become the 4 cardinal heroes of the realm and are meant to protect its citizens from the waves of catastrophe, which brings out all kinds of monsters and creatures to fight. The heroes all have a magical weapon, and that's the only thing they can use to fight. There's a sword, a spear, a bow, and of course, a shield. The problem for our main character, Naofumi, is that he's the only hero who's not a complete asshole. So after being accused of assaulting the princess and shunned by pretty much everyone in the kingdom, he's forced to set off on his own. The anime does a good job making you sympathize with Naofumi, while making him a bit unlikable at times as well. I mean, since he can't wield an actual weapon other than his shield, and doesn't have any friend or allies in this new world, he's forced to buy a young slave girl and force her to act as his sword, all while being pretty pissed off at his situation to begin with. But the story goes on, and it's really good. The Rising of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hero has 2 seasons out at the moment, and of course, everything on this list is fully dubbed because that's the only real way to watch anime.
And you'll become an offering to the gods as you howl in pain! Legendary sealed skill blood sacrifice!
Number 1. Overlord.
Scum! All of you! You lied to me! In my home! The place that I built with my comrades! Dragging your filthy boots across its sacred grounds!
With 4 seasons out at the making of this video, over 50 episodes in total, this anime is by far my most favorite when it comes to all the isekais I've ever seen. I'm sure some of you will like others from this list more than this one, but not for me. Overlord is about an online virtual reality game that was named Yggdrasil. It functioned a lot like Dungeons & Dragons, with character stats, classes, and levels, and was built around the overall RPG experience. But just as the game is going offline, the leader of one of the game's most powerful guilds, Momonga, wakes up in a new version of the game. Except this version is real. He renames himself as Ainz al-Gon, which was the previous name of the guild in the original game Yggdrasil, and from there sets out on a path to dominate this new world, and secretly wishes to find any remnants of his past friends who used to play the game with him. I think what I love the most about this one is the lore. Even though I hear the anime does cut off some of the manga content, it's still so freaking rich. I mean, the characters, their backstories, personalities, and motivations, the world itself, which is filled with not only an in-depth RPG-like magic system, but powerful artifacts and world items, the different races and their cultures, the kingdoms and political struggles. This anime has everything, man, and I love it. You could argue that at times it feels slow, but I'd say the reason for that is intentional, as it sacrifices combat for the story, and instead of being quick-paced and filled with fight scenes, we end up having more dialogue and lore building. Just imagine Game of Thrones, but in a fantasy Dungeons and Dragons type world. Game of Thrones before Season 8, that is. You know, before it turned to complete shit.
Summon undead, 10th tier, Doom Lord. Now, show me the full extent of your strength.
Well guys, those are my top 5 isekais. Top 5 isekai? I don't know how to pronounce it, but top 5 on the list. Have you checked them out? And if so, which one would you say is your favorite? Also, based off this list and seeing the kinds of things I personally like, which types of isekai would you recommend to me that are kind of like the ones on this list? If you liked the video, please hit the like button, and maybe subscribe if you want to see more of my content. I always appreciate you watching, guys, and I hope you all have a great freaking day.